Hey everybody, Ralph Havens here, and welcome to your session today. I'm going to go ahead and load this up on Facebook, and it'll also be on YouTube on the Beyond Limits session. I made sure this time it's recording, so we should be able to get this up on the Beyond Limits Facebook in a little bit. And this morning, all sorts of stuff was coming in as I was getting ready to do this for you guys. And so I want to tell you about something that happened many, many years ago when I was in the Caribbean, and I was on this beach, and this Russian guy who was there on the same cruise I was on. I've only been on one cruise, and it was actually, I was on a Scientology cruise, if you can believe that. But I actually got kicked out of Scientology a few years later, even though I wasn't officially in it. I was just taking some classes, and my consultants in San Diego, they're actually from LA, they were a bunch of Scientologists, and you didn't have to be a Scientologist to work with them, but they used a lot of their technology, which was really pretty cool, a lot of communication technology. And there was one time I thought, well, I'll go on this this cruise ship with them, because my consultant, Jimena from Los Angeles, part of that group, was saying, Ralph, you should go on this. It's going to be great. You know, there's going to be these great courses you can take and stuff. So I took one called, I think it was called this, what was it called? The State of Man or something, but it was all about how to communicate. And so let me just load this up on Facebook, and I'll tell you what happened and some cool things that I noticed that showed up for us today. And for some reason, it's taking a little while to load. Let's see what's going on with Facebook. So you can find these on Facebook lives I do every day, and also the YouTube channel Beyond Limits with Ralph Havens. It's just having a hard time. I'm going to try to redo this. Let's see this. No, it's still going. Why is it not going? Let's stop it, and let's start that again. Okay, so for some reason, it always takes a couple of tries on this. I set it up so that I can stream it on Facebook Live and also then record it on my computer. So I have a special program through Zoom that lets me do that. And there's a couple of steps where it all gets to integrate together. And it looks like it's about to work now. So let's just see what happens here. Super excited to get this one to you today. If you're on my my email list, I just sent out the Thursday email. Every Thursday for many years, I've been doing an actual Matrix Energetics and Beyond session. I consider everybody on our email list, and then I do a session for everybody. So if you have any health concerns, any other concerns, any stuff you want to change in your life, you can always go find me, Beyond Limits with Ralph Havens. It's actually at ralphhavens.com or autoimmuneanswers.com. And leave your email address, and I'll do a session for you every Thursday. You can email me and let me know what's going on in your life. This is just taking forever to load up. Problems, problems, problems. So the obstacle is the way is the is the thing that I wanted to do today, and for some reason it's just not loading up. My goodness. Just taking its time. So if you're watching on YouTube, just leave a message in the comments of what you'd like to change. Golly, that's just not working. Okay, let's restart this thing. I'm determined. You know, sometimes you just have to keep doing something. If you get a roadblock, you can stop. Maybe it's supposed to not start, right? Maybe there's some reason it's not supposed to be on Facebook Live. I don't know. But it looks like it's going to work now. And there is a benefit to persistence. There's a principle of like, you will succeed if you persist. If you give up, well, you'll give up. But everybody that's ever made it big in life they have many stories of they failed, 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 they almost made it, they failed again, they made it somewhat and they failed again, and then they made it. And so, you know, you're gonna get through that part. And maybe we're not gonna be on Facebook. I'm gonna just start. Because this is just not on. So for some reason, Facebook might not be live today. Okay, so what showed up today? I was on that boat in the Caribbean, and this Russian guy, I was in such a tough spot. I just hated it. The first 3 days, if I could have somehow got off that ship and found a plane ride back to San Diego, I would have, but they take your keys and your passport when you get on the ship. Maybe it's a Scientology thing or something, but when you go into different ports, I think they have to have all your passports there. So for whatever reason, I didn't have my passport, and I'm gonna try this one more time. This is crazy. I am determined to make this happen. And if it won't, it won't, but I'm gonna do it one more time. Okay, so when you have an obstacle, you know, what do? I had a client many years ago who we were working with. She had shoulder problems. She came to see me with shoulder problems. It was when we were in San Diego, and she had all sorts of other medical problems, and they were all getting better. And after a few sessions, she said, you know, Ralph, I am so grateful I had my shoulder problem. And I was like, why? And she goes, because if I wouldn't have come here, I wouldn't have got this stuff. And, you know, all sorts of numbness in her hands went away, and all sorts of other conditions, medical conditions, were vastly improving. But she said, but you know what? My husband doesn't yell at me anymore. Now, I didn't work on her husband. I didn't think about her husband. We didn't talk about her husband. But with this type of work, with the matrix energetics and the other things that I use, there's a way to shift patterns, and then all these unexpected miracles come in. In fact, it's very unusual for my clients not to have unexpected miracles. And so that was her experience. A few months later, she actually brought him in and had me work on him, and he was great. But that changed for her. And had another client when we first moved up here to Bellingham, and she had found me because her therapist had found me, and she lived states away, but was going to be here for a while, and found me because she had a headache, had terrible headaches, terrible neck pain, back pain, and wasn't going away after a car wreck. And so we found some very interesting stuff. I found a lot of grief in her body, a lot of grief in her lungs. And so I did the techniques actually from my medical intuitive work and the matrix energetics, and I noticed the grief clearing. It's a way that I can feel stuff. And so we rechecked, and her headaches and her neck pain and her back pain were going away. And she asked me, what are you doing? Because this is actually going away for the first time in years. And I told her that we had found grief, and so and that we were letting it go. That's when she told me a very sad story. And I won't go into the great details, but she lost some loved ones in a very sad way. And so it made some sense, you know, the grief thing. But we didn't go into talk therapy or anything like that. I don't do that sort of thing. But I do have techniques to help somebody release deep grief and sadness from their lungs. So we did that, and her headaches and neck pain and back pain went away. And then she went back to her home, states away, and I emailed her a few months later to see, does she want any Skype sessions? How's she doing? You know, did it stay good? And she emailed me back and said, yeah, it's been really good ever since then. And you know what I think happened was, I think I got in the car wreck so that I could have this problem and find you and let go of this deep grief. And we're actually going to be moving. They were thinking of moving to some place not in the United States, kind of a whole change of life. So it's like, that's just an unexpected miracle, right? I had my my favorite, all-time favorite student, Elizabeth, who physical therapist, who was a student at Mississippi State, and she emailed me back in San Diego and said, hey, I want to be an intern at your clinic. I'm doing my last 8-week internship. I'd like to do it at your place. So I don't know how she found me, but I did the paperwork and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so she came, and she was a regular physical therapist student, about to become a physical therapist. And she met me. So for the first 3 weeks, we were doing matrix energetics. I was way into it, and we were seeing miracles and miracles and miracles. And I could tell that she was getting it, but she didn't know it yet because she didn't have the words or realize how to, that she could actually do this. And so I remember one time in particular, we were working on my office manager's brother, and we'd already worked on my office manager. And I think, so it was really profound. The space was big. I mean, big changes for him and big shifts. And I could feel it. And I knew she could feel stuff, even though maybe she didn't know what was going on. And he was changing right before our eyes. And so then later, we're working with another client. And I said, Elizabeth, remember how it felt when we were working on Susan's brother? And she goes, yeah. I said, do that. And she did. And the session was so big. And on an even deeper level, she started to get that, oh, wow, this is what it is. Then she went to Chicago and took a 5-day class with Matrix Energetics and came back. In the last 5 weeks, we did nothing but Matrix Energetics and just laughed and had a great time, and people were changing and transforming right before our eyes. And on her last day, I don't have it right here with me, she gave me a wand from Harry Potter's, from the Harry Potter thing, Altavans, I think is the wand store. And she told me, Ralph, you ruined me. You ruined me for physical therapy. And with a smile on her face. And she said, I think I know what happened. She says, when I was getting through physical therapy school, my brother had just become a chiropractor. And he had a terrible accident, burned his hands, severely burned his hands. They were talking of amputating fingers. And he had this miraculous recovery. And nobody knows how it happened. Just this amazing thing. You can't even tell his hands are burned now. He's a chiropractor. Everything's fine. And she said, I think what happened was oh, wow, I think we might be streaming this. Let's see if it's streaming. I think we might, I wonder if it streams the whole time. It might be streaming the whole time. So there's miracles in this. Awesome. You gotta listen. So let me just, the universe is so interesting. Like, why would it stop me from streaming until right now in the story, right? So pause for station identification. Still spinning. Maybe it's not going to work. It'll be on YouTube. So my goodness. So there we were, and she says, I think I know what happened. She said, I think I came to your clinic, learned this Matrix Energetics, time traveled back, worked on my brother, and shifted that, and he got well. And so then I had to come do it in real life. I had to come to your clinic. And it's like, wow, that's interesting. She said it just came to her. It just kind of came to her. That's what happened. And so that was her reality. So that's what you call an unexpected miracle, right? So today, for your session, when I got off that, when I was at the beach with that Russian guy, and I was so stressed out. It was so hard. Scientologists are so hard, man. They're just like so hard. And he said, big obstacle, big win. And so I kept doing my work. It was all I could do, like taking this class while we cruised through the Caribbean for 10 days. And something amazing happened. I got such a big love in my heart for everybody. It was really amazing. And when I got off the plane in Miami to get back on another plane and head to San Diego, I looked around at everybody walking through the airport, and they just looked so sad. They just looked so sad. I mean, everybody. And if you look around at people, they just look sad. They look like life's hard and there's big obstacles, and they look sort of normal if you just barely look at them. But if you really look at somebody in their eyes as they walk by, you can see they're going through some stuff. And, if I hadn't taken the jump and spent a ton of money with those consultants to build my physical therapy practice in San Diego, if I hadn't taken 35 classes in matrix energetics and done all that, would I be doing what I'm doing now? And would I have made the decisions I made now? I don't know. When I was in San Diego, we had all sorts of stuff happen after that. I built a successful physical therapy practice, 5 therapists working for me, bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars every month, and being able to go travel around the world and take lots of classes. And then some of my best people left, and I hired some people that weren't so good. And the business started to really fail, and people were stealing from me, and all sorts of stuff was going on. And then my health started to deteriorate. And I could have just fired everybody and had Jen come be an office manager for me and kept on going. But something inside me said, no, Jen's not supposed to just be an office manager. We're supposed to do something bigger. And I was getting my health back, and we made a decision to sell everything, get a truck and a tent, and hit the road and head up to the Pacific Northwest without knowing how to make money, without knowing how to do anything, leaving everything behind. And the miracles I've seen since then are just amazing. So for this morning's session, which for some reason didn't get streamed on Facebook, and it's probably for a reason, what you can do is, if you want more of this kind of stuff, subscribe to the Beyond Limits YouTube station, and go find me on autoimmuneanswers.com or ralphhavens.com, and put in your email and join us every Thursday for a session. And let me know what's really going on with you. What's the pain point? What's the thing? What's the big obstacle? What would a win look like for you? And so that's what this is all about, is helping people get to that point where it's like they can really look, where you can look and go, wow, here's how life is. I want this. I want this. And we might not know how it's going to happen, but do you know maybe a first step? And so if being with me on these Beyond Limits sessions is a first step for you, that's great. And if you need anything, let me know. Let me know what's going on in your life. And I'm here for you. So welcome. Great session. Great seeing you. Subscribe, share, click like, do all those kind of things. Let's get this out to people, and let's get out there and live. Let's really live. All right, everybody. Bye for now.